Hi, Coach. Any plans to put Godcho on IR? And do you have a player in mind that you might promote to the 53 if you do?
We're still, going through, Chris, myself, the scouting staff. We're just still talking through, kind of our options on that one. So don't have a concrete answer for you as far as any moves that we're going to make. Still kind of talking through it, but yes, Scott Jouse has an injury, and we're still kind of getting the information on that injury before we make the final or any final decisions.
Cam?
Hey, good morning, Flo. We asked, talked to Mike Gesicki before. He called Fitz his favorite teammate he's ever played with. I want to ask you, why do you think players love playing with Fitz so much?
I think he brings a lot of energy to the field. Well, I would say first and foremost, he's a great teammate, and that goes, I would say, far beyond what you guys see on the field. So that's their interactions in the locker room, outside of the building. I think that's all plays a part in why he said something like that. But on the field, you guys see his energy, his enthusiasm, his support for his teammates, his willingness to put his body on the line for his teammates. I think that's why you get that type of response from a guy like Mike and other players as well. But to me, that starts, what you see on the field is what you see on the field, but those relationships and that respect is earned, in practice and meetings and, in the locker room. And then it kind of manifests itself into the relationships you see on the field.
Alan?
Good morning, Brian. What has impressed you the most so far about Emmanuel Ogbah?
There's a lot of things. I mean, he's run game, pass game, work ethic, competitiveness. I think he's, he's tough, smart. He can play multiple positions. So Ogbah's been obviously improving and getting better every week, getting more familiar with the system, and his role and his fit, in the defense. So I've been pleased with him.
Travis?
Hey, Coach, in both wins this year, you guys have gotten out to 14-0 starts. I'm just curious if there's something consistent with or synonymous with playing that well, that early, and that fast, and how do you get that fast start against the Jets on Sunday?
Well, we always talk about, playing fast, starting fast, something that we harp on a weekly basis. Again, it's football. The ball bounces a few different ways, so anything can happen, and we've got to be able to play any type of game. So, when we start fast, and when we started fast this season, it's, we're 5 games in. We started fast twice, and we won those games. We didn't start fast, and we didn't win those games. So, look, every game's a little bit different. I think, there's some if we can get going early and we want to, then that's always a good thing. But we got to be ready to play, in any type of game. And we've talked about that as a team. You're up, you're down. It's a back and forth. It's a defensive game. It's an offensive game. We've got to be able to adjust and try to play any style, because every week it's a little bit different based on your opponent, based on a lot of factors. So, but starting fast is always something we put a lot of emphasis on.
Al?
Brian, I wanted to get your reaction to LeVeon Bell getting released. What does he offer a team, and how does this possibly change the Jets' attack?
Well, the Jets got a lot of good backs. So Gore, P. Ryan, they got good skilled players over there offensively. So I think they'll be okay. Look, LeVeon Bell's a great player. I think we all know that. He's had a lot of production in this league, run, pass. And just a dynamic player. So, for us, our preparation doesn't change. Obviously he won't be there, or honestly, that transaction hasn't officially gone through. So, that's what it looks like. But our preparation doesn't change. We'll still go through the early downs and the third down and red zone and 2 minute and get to know their players and their strengths and weaknesses and try to improve in all our areas, whether it's run game, pass rush. Just try to get better and get the Dolphins better and also prepare for the Jets. So the transactions happen every day, and if this is, it sounds like this is going to be another one, and we have to prepare for the guys that we're going to see, which they still have good backs.
Omar?
Sticking with that conversation, how do you improve your run game? Last week you did get over 100 yards, but the yards per carry average wasn't high. I know you were playing with a lead, but where do you feel like your run game is right now?
I mean, it's like every other area, on this team, it could improve. So run game, play action, run defense, pass defense, kickoff return, punt, coaching, all of it can improve. So that's what we're trying to do on a daily basis. It starts in meetings. And you take it to walkthrough, and then you go out there and practice and try to improve it and get better. Whether it's blocking an 8-man front, or one guy getting 7-on-7 and the back beating the 8th guy, or something schematically that we could do that would help us in that phase of the game. But we're doing that on a weekly basis, and things that people think we're struggling in, obviously, but also the things that we're actually we might be having some success in. So we're trying to improve every area, even the rover position, Omar, we're trying to improve that position also.
Joe Shad?
Good morning to you, Flo. I noticed that the Dolphins have been underdogs in every game you've coached. 21 straight times, Dolphins underdogs. And that's expected to change this week. But my question is, what has it been like for you to be an underdog every time?
I'm not a big, betting odds. I'm not really big on that. I don't really plus minus. I'm not over unders. I don't really follow that or really understand it very much. So, the underdog role, that's not really something I think about. We just try to go out there, prepare for each opponent, give our best effort, and try to win every week. So if somebody thinks that I don't know. I honestly don't know much about spreads. So the underdog role, it's not something I really think about too much, and it's not something that gives me a source of motivation. I think if you're not motivated to play in this league, then you don't belong in this league. So whether you're an underdog or not an underdog, or so it's not really something I put much stake into, quite honestly, Joe.
Dolphin?
Good morning, Coach. You said betting odds, plus minus, over under, and spreads. I think you know a little bit, but my question for you is, going back to the early leads Travis asked about, psychologically, what can that do for your team where you have a lot of young guys and guys still learning to play together through 5 games? And, how do you kind of reinforce that early leads can also translate to playing well late in games when games are most decisive?
So this is, can you ask that again? There was a few things there. So you're talking about playing with a lead?
Yeah. Just psychologically, what does that do for a team with a lot of young guys on it and a team still, 5 games in, trying to learn to play with each other? And how do you kind of let the guys know that, hey, if you can get off to an early start, we can play great late in games as well?
Well, I don't think it it's automatic that you play late if you start fast. So I think, with any team, young, old, you when you play well, you build confidence. So that's part of the reason why we always want to start fast, because if you play well early, then you're confident in the game plan, you're confident in your teammates, and conversely, if you don't play well, then you could potentially start pressing and doing things outside of your role or your responsibility. So I think it's important to start fast. I don't think it guarantees that you're gonna finish strong. I mean, I think that's a whole other entity to the game. That's different, in my opinion. Maybe you may feel differently than that, but in my opinion, they're two totally different things. Again, as far as betting odds and spreads, I know all the terms, Safid, but -8, +8, I'm not. I think anybody who's seen anything can tell you the terms, but I'm not much of a betting guy. It's never not something that I've spent a lot of time on.
I got time for two more. We'll go to Steve.
Coach, what are the things that make you nervous about facing a team that's 0-5 and has a coach who's on the hot seat?
But this is a National Football League. Every team has good players. On any given Sunday, any team can beat any other team. So that's my approach every week. Whether the team's undefeated or has won 4 out of 5 or hasn't won any games. So look, there's a competitive nature to these games that when you're on the field and you see these guys compete, you understand what that is. So I'm not taking anyone lightly. That's going to be my message to the team, and that's how we should approach every game. That's how every NFL team player should approach every game. I mean, it's the best of the best. Every team's got good players, and if you walk into a game thinking that somebody's going to lay down, you're probably going to get the opposite. That's been my experience in my time in this league.
Final question, Omar.
Wanted to get an update on Shaq, Lawson, and also Jason Strowbridge hasn't been active for a game this season, and yet last week you guys needed a body on the defensive line and promoted a practice squad player. Where's his status in terms of Strowbridge, what he can contribute, and what's he doing in practice?
Yeah, I think we talked about this the other day as far as Render being up over Strowbridge. I think, again, a lot of people, they take that and you just see the one position, D-line, but there's a special teams element here with Durham being down. Render's roles kind of were, D-line also, but also, some of those, let's call it tight end, DN roles in the kicking game. So I forget who asked me that on Sunday or Monday, but I think we talked about that one. And that was really, I think Strowbridge has done a good job. He's getting better. He's improving. But there's only so many spots, and we got to fill, all the kicking game roles, all the defensive line roles, all the offensive line roles, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of, that's part of what goes into the decision making to bring guys up or not. And that was the case with Render. It's really more kicking game than it was D-line, and no real knock on Stroh, but just as far as being able to field the team and have backups all in the kicking game, that's part of that. And look, there's, as we make decisions, myself, Chris, and our coaching staff and personnel staff, again, there's, like we said, there's a lot of things that go into those decisions that you guys may not know, and that's okay. You ask, and I'll let you guys know kind of our thought process. But Yeah, that was it on render. I think there was a question earlier before that. Can you unmute him, Matt?
Yeah, it was on Shaq, Coach.
On Shaq. All right. So Shaq Lawson, he's getting better. He's trying to he's rehabbing. He's getting treatment. Expect to see him out of practice today. So we'll see how this goes in practice, and if he's we want to see him out there, obviously, and if he's healthy enough, we'll get him out there.